name is Samantha Bryant Green. I am the Program Analyst and Small Business Liaison for the Department of Transportation Purchasing Unit. Before I begin, I'd like to address our goals. So the mission and goals of the Department of Transportation is connecting people, products, and places safely and efficiently with customer focus, accountability, and environmental sensitivity to enhance the economy and the vitality of North Carolina. The department's vision, mission, and goals are what guide us daily operations to ensure it's a wide range of projects and services. Our agency, as you know, have 14 divisions, each working to ensure that our wide range of products and services meet the evolving transportation needs of our state. DOT's kind of stands out for our diverse and specialized items we procure through the following divisions. We'll start off with Division of Highways, who are responsible for maintaining our state roads. Aviation Unit, which manages our fleet of planes. We have the Ferry Division, our Rail Division, Ports Authority, Turnpike Authority, who oversees the NC Pass, and we also have a Global Transport. And we have the Integrated Mobility Division, which is a combination of public transportation and bike pedestrian, who manages our state pathways. So today's topics for discussion will be covering the rules of state procurement, registering with the state, the electronic vendor portal, purchasing methods, seeking competition, solicitation methods, evaluation methods, our award process, and ending with our contract monitoring. For starters, we're going to start off with the North Carolina rules of purchasing, the rules and laws, the difference between goods and services, our delegation policy, and the types of contracts we award. Purchasing rules hierarchy. So North Carolina state procurement laws are primarily governed by the North Carolina General Statutes, which falls under the Chapter 143, Article 3, for acquiring goods and services for state government, institutions, our community colleges, including the UNC system. The purchasing contract administrative codes are the rules we follow to ensure that the state is acquiring goods and services at a fair cost while we're using taxpayer dollars. This resource is specifically under Title I, Chapter 5B, titled Procurement. And next we have our North Carolina Procurement Manual, where we have both the state procurement manual that supports state entities for efficient and effective procurement processes, along with the referencing the individual agency's internal purchasing manuals to follow for more guidance. Purchasing Governing Authority. As mentioned earlier, our goods and services procurements fall under General Statutes 143 and Article 3, and the administrative code is 1. And that it was Chapter 5 entitled Procurement. And then we also have our information technology, where their goods and services fall under General Statutes 147, and they follow the administrative code Title 9, Chapter 6. And then there's our construction side of the house, where they follow the construction, any renovation or alteration of physical properties. They follow the General Statutes Chapters 116, 143, and 153, as well as their state construction manual. Who are your potential customers? There are 28 state agencies, 58 community colleges, 16 public universities, 2,500 plus public and charter schools, all within the 100 counties, plus an additional 500 plus municipalities. So this graph that you're looking at states the the executive state agency, and what it does is displays all the state agencies and how they are identified. So you have the cabinet and the council agencies with 9 supported agencies. And as you can see, Department of Transportation is part of the cabinet agency, where our secretaries are appointed by the governor, and the council agencies, their officials are elected by the public, which is during the statewide elections. Need identification. So the needs are determined by our division leaders. When the divisions or the unit identifies that there is a need to procure a good or service, the division or unit head should ask themselves these questions. What are we buying? How much does it cost? Does the division have the funding? And how do I buy it? And what is the documentation that is needed? And once those answers have been answered, then that division or unit creates a requisition, which is then forwarded to the purchasing team. Upon the purchasing team receiving that requisition, it is then reviewed by our contract specialist before signing it to the appropriate procurement specialist. Upon receipt of that requisition, the specialist then asks these questions. What are you trying to buy, and how much does it cost? Is it a good or is it a service? What's the delegation? Are there any mandated resources versus open market, or is this a special circumstances? Goods versus services. So goods are all commodities, supplies, materials, equipment, and other tangible property. So anything that you can touch or feel is considered a good. There is a vendor charge for 1.75% to create a purchasing order through our North Carolina e-procurement system. As I said, goods is something you can touch or see. And all the office supplies, those are things that you tangible have in your hand and you can see. Services is a tangible work or task that is performed by an individual or company that requires specialized knowledge, experience, expertise, or similar capabilities. So that could be anything from plumbing or something such as cleaning, maintenance, parking deck. Mandated resources. So before we buy anything, we have to identify, is it something that can be used from our state term contracts? Is it something that we can get from Correction Enterprise, or something from state and federal surplus property? Is it something Mail Service Center, State Construction Office, State Property Office, and other state agencies MOUs? And MOUs are memorandums of understanding. They are utilized as formal non-binding agreements that outline partnerships, define roles, and establish mutual goals between the agencies, the university, or some external entities that are used to facilitate cooperation, such as guidelines for procurement. State term contracts. As I mentioned, contracts are established by the Division of Purchasing Contract and statewide Department of Information Technology procurement for use by all agencies, unless it exempted by statute, rule, or special terms and conditions specific to the contract. We ask, can it be mandatory as a convenience contract? Can we use? Is it searchable list with contract manager information on purchasing contract and the Department of Information Technology websites? And the reason that we use these statewide term contracts, because most times it's lower prices, good quality products, and shorter delivery times. Open market agency delegation. So if during the procurement process, the procurement specialists have referenced all of our mandated resources with no success, their next step in the process is going to open market for a viable vendor to supply and deliver the requested goods or services. And that's where we like to include our small businesses and hub partners for this opportunity. So open market again is a purchase according to the rules and regulations that are set out by the state from the vendor community where no mandatory resources meet the need. The delegation, each state has their own delegation, community college, university as well, have a set general purchasing delegation in which the state procurement officers must approve. They can raise it or they can also decrease it. All purchases under the delegation are processed and executed by the agency. All the purchases that are over their delegation must be approved by the Division of Statewide Purchasing and Contract or the Department of Information Technology. And most state agencies, delegations with PC is $100,000, as well as DIT, their threshold is 100,000. Open market purchasing policy, So this is a graph, and again, I'd like to mention that this is specifically to Department of Transportation purchasing thresholds. So small micro purchases are anything under the $10,000 and which can be purchased through using a P card. 10,001 up to 31,000 is considered our small purchases. And there's one current informal vendor quote and an RFQ would be required for services. Then we have our informal purchases, and that's 31,001 up to 100,000 for goods and services, and competition required, but not an advertisement requires vendors to agree to the North Carolina terms and conditions, and the RFQ is issued to at least 3 vendors. Then our more formal purchases are anything over 100,001 and above. And that will require a vendor to agree to the North Carolina terms and conditions, and that is an advertised on open market or an approved waiver. And I will state that our contract terms are standard 3 years. Anything longer than that, we would need approval from this purchasing contract. Term contracts. So standard term contract is a binding agreement between the purchaser and the vendor to buy and sell certain commodities, printing or services at certain prices and under stipulated terms and conditions. Sorry. So our agency-specific term contracts are term contracts for use by a specific agency for a specific amount of time, which is indefinite quantity, and the award is based on historical data. And again, these are our standard 3 years. And our agency-specific term contracts would be considered like our asphalt contracts, our aggregate contracts, and concrete contracts. These types of contracts most times exercise the option to renew, usually for an additional 1 year. And the standard term contracts have an option as well if the end user chooses to renew or if it's a one-time purchase. Our service contracts. Contractual service and consulting, this type of contract must have the governor's prior approval. These types of contracts usually results through a request for proposal, so our RFPs. And an contractual service contract is an independent vendor who performs work or task requiring specialized knowledge, skills, and experience. Examples are janitorial, landscaping, medical or lab services, hazardous waste, security guards, training instructors, and building maintenance, just to name a few. Under the consultant service contracts, work or tasks are performed requiring a specialized knowledge, experience, expertise, and professional qualifications to investigate assigned problems or projects and to provide counsel, review, analysis, or advice by formulating, implementing improvements in programs or services. Any vendor receiving payment for services that is over $600 must submit a 1099 form. Department of Information Technology purchases. These are again handled strictly through Department of Information Technology when it has to do with hardware, software, any kind of online database subscriptions, any type of license agreements, data. Statewide DIT procurement approves all the technology purchases over our agency delegation. DIT also has state term contracts for IT software, IT hardware, telecom, and IT services, and any type of security reviews. Waiver of competition. So this method is used when standard competitive bidding cannot be used due to the circumstances as you see in front of you, such as sole source availability, emergency needs, or when compatibility and standardization takes precedence over competition. Before this method is used, it must have prior approval from the purchasing director with backing documentation that relates to one of the circumstances mentioned. And this waiver of competition can be found under the North Carolina Administrative Code, Chapter 5B, 4.1401. Any questions so far at this pausing stop?
We did have a question in the chat regarding micro purchases, and we answered it. The question was, are the micro purchases advertised in EVP,
EVP.
in the EVP portal?
Yes.
And the answer in the chat is they're not advertised on EVP, and that agencies usually make direct contact to vendors for estimates on these purchases. So if you want to go into how DOT does this, but overall, in general, agencies will make contact with the vendors for those type projects.
And that is correct, Carla. Thank you. And of course, depending on the cost of it, as if it's considered a micro purchase, that purchase is handled through P-card purchasing.
We also have a question, how do agencies find what you do? And they have an aside with your NAICS codes. And as we know, Samantha, we actually use commodity codes, which should have been noted when you registered as a vendor. You select your commodity codes that align with what your company offers for goods or services. And we'll get into that a little later in the presentation.
Yes, we will. Thank you.
And I'm sorry.
I also have a question.
Okay.
Okay. My first question is, I had signed up for this, but I didn't see an email with a meeting link. So someone gave me a phone number to dial in, so I'm not able to see anything, but I'm able to listen. Where does the meeting invite come from? Like, what's the sender email so I can do a search for it? Because I'd like to be able to see what you guys are showing.
Okay, I'll put the link to join, depending on when you signed up, but the link should have been emailed to you, but I will put it in the chat. Well, you can't see the chat. Could you email me at carla.coates@doa.nc.gov, and I'll send you the link.
Okay, so in the subject, I'll just put please send meeting link. Okay, and then the other question was, I was wondering if you could repeat what you were saying about the 1099 requirements.
Yes, so So for any type of contractor service contracts or consultant service contract, if you're awarded one of these contracts and it's over $600, then you are required to submit a 1099 form.
Can you just clarify that? I think you mean a W-9 form so that a 1099 can be issued. Just if you can just clarify that.
I'm under the impression that it is a 1099 form, but I will get clarification for that and let Ms. Carla know so they can put it out to everyone.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we can do
You-
that.
Okay.
No other
Right.
questions in the chat. So we will move forward with our next module.
Thank you, Carla.
Thank you, Samantha.
So we're next going to start off with doing business with the state, where we will discuss the electronic vendor portal, how to register in EVP, managing your EVP accounts. So EVP basics. As you know, it's a single cloud-based application with enhanced features for greater efficiency. EVP provides a single point of access for North Carolina government organizations, and all solicitations are posted within EVP, and vendors will respond in EVP or through the normal paper submission process, depending on the requirements of that particular bid response. And vendors are charged, as I stated earlier, 1.75 fee only for goods when purchase orders are created through North Carolina e-procurement platform. So why is my company being required to pay a 1.75% fee? Well, this helps to allow the state to conduct business electronically. Vendors are able to market their business with state entities and also benefit from the process and time savings that are possible. The fee offsets the expenses of the development, maintenance, and the ongoing operations of our electronic procurement process. And you ask yourself, how does my company benefit from using it? Well, it increases your access to government markets, a single point of access to government entities, public schools, and community colleges, and it increases order accuracy and consistency through the delivery of electronic purchase orders and potential for supplier cost savings in the areas of processing, marketing, and administrative costs. EVP registration. For those who are not registered in EVP, this is the link provided for you, where you make sure you have, of course, internet access. You have to have a federal ID or a tax ID number, a valid email address in order to initiate the EVP and the hub certification process. And as you see, the link is provided here. When you get to the website, there are two tiles left and right. One says browse solicitations, search for vendors, and on the right-hand side it shows, and I'll show that slide at a later time, but to show you how to sign in or either just registering and creating your account. And if you have any questions regarding your registration process, you can always reach out to our help desk Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and the phone number is there for your listing or an email address. Another good thing about electronic vendor portal is that it's free. It's automated business opportunity notifications based on vendor selected commodities. And I'd like to say, as far as your commodities, for those who do have an account and for those who have not yet registered an account, I recommend that you solely be diligent and intentional on the types of commodity codes that you choose, because you do not want to get inundated by a lot of postings for something that your business does not provide or good or services. So it's very important that you stick to the commodity codes that only your business can provide. And it also keeps the information updated. I like to say that it is a one-stop shop for everything. I mean, you can come in there for e-procurement to receive purchase orders, search for formal solicitations, receive notices of bid opportunities, as well as doing your hub certification and your small business certification. And it's a great vendor search for us as well. And this is where we come to find you guys with opportunities to work with us. So in managing your account with this link, you can go in, change your password, again, update your profile information, adding or deleting any information that you no longer need, updating, you say your business name may have changed. All of that can be done in EVP, and that's the beauty of a one-stop shop. Everything is there for you for your reference. And then there's also job aids on this link that I think it takes you to some job aids that can walk you through steps on doing certain things that you need to do. For example, changing your password or updating your profile information. And another platform that we like to encourage our business partners before doing business with us is please make sure that your business is registered on the Secretary of State. And this is part of the requirement to doing business with NCDOT and most state agencies. So it's to register your business, file for your annual report, and finding business resources on this website. Any questions at this point?
We do not have questions in the chat, but if anyone has a question, feel free to raise your hand.
Yeah,
Go
how you
ahead.
doing? Got a couple questions. I have my hub certification and my small business certification. You saying that on the EVP portal, is there ways for jobs for you to find jobs up there to apply for or bid for?
Yes, sir. And I'll show you that in a later slide, how to navigate EVP when looking for solicitation opportunities, because you can do that search, not just with our agency, but any municipality or any college, any state agencies. There is a way to view what currently that entity has posted.
And one more question. I've got both of those certifications. Is a DBE needed to, you know what I'm saying? Does those two certifications hold the same weight as DBE, or
Well,
is that like a totally different thing?
Well, DBE is separate, but that is more managed on our construction side of the house. So that if you want, I can, give you some information at the end of this training, reach out to me and I can direct you to the perfect contact for more information on DBE if you're interested. But we're purchasing and we're strictly on goods and services. So as long as you're a hub and a small business and you're certified, that's what we would encourage.
Okay, and the goods and services, is that like janitorial work or what?
Correct.
What is the goods? Okay, yeah,
Yes.
that's what I specialize in.
Okay. Well, please reach out to me at the end of the training. I'd like to speak with you more.
All right, will you have like a email or a link or direct line I could talk to you on?
Yes, I will put that in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, Ms. Harris?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a non-emergency medical transportation company. So will my company be considered as a goods because I do provide a service?
That's more of a service contract, I would think, not a good. It's a service that you would be providing.
All right.
Are there any other questions?
Joyce, it looks like your hand is raised.
Yes, I have a question, kind of piggyback off what the person just asked. I'm an education consultant, but I do offer trainings, but I'm also an author, so I sell my books too. So would that be both? Like my book goes with the training, so would it be goods and services?
That would be more, could be both goods and services,
Okay.
depending on what you're focusing in on.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Fitzgerald,
I think
Yes,
we,
ma'am.
anybody? I'm trying to make sure I answer everyone's question.
Yeah. I think that may be because their hands haven't been lowered yet. I think we've covered.
Oh, how do you
them.
lower it?
Okay.
Click on that same button. I think. Did
Okay, I
we
got it.
cover
I got it.
Ashley Guy's question?
I don't think so.
Ashley, if you
good,
wanna go ahead.
good
Hello, Ms.
morning.
Guy.
Hello. We're a staffing agency and I frequently, at least once a month, I go on the website and just check for new solicitations and, we're services, of course. So is that the best place for a company such as ours to check, for new, opportunities?
Yes, and again, you can broaden your search, not just state agencies. You can go to the community colleges, the universities, and the municipalities to see within that EVP. So, and again, when I get to that slide, I can kind of show you how you can navigate on whom you want to search for.
Thank you.
And last question from Dora. If you want to
Okay,
unmute Dora, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I was curious. I was searching to see what code the services that we provide would be under, and I really didn't see it. And I'm not sure if so basically, we provide AI services to help automate sales and qualifications and various other things. But we also do, we're a digital marketing company, and we help businesses market themselves online. I didn't really see anything that fit that, and I wasn't sure, what you would recommend.
I would recommend that you start with Department of Information Technology. Since you're talking about AI, I would reach out or kind of navigate through their page to kind of see if they have anything posted out there or get a contact, because they would handle that type of service.
Okay, and when you say out there, where is out there? Where are you referring
I'm going to
to?
show you in EVP. I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay.
All right. Charlotte, we'll take this last question and then we'll move on. Charlotte?
Hi, yes. I was wondering, are certain certifications required to be able to obtain a account?
Well, I would say this is not required, but we recommend that you are HUB certified, because that is one of the requirements that we as a state agency all state agencies have a goal of HUB participation, and your dollars are not counted if that particular HUB vendor is not certified. So we recommend and encourage you to be at least certified HUB, not necessarily a small business, but definitely certified as a HUB, because those dollars count towards our goal.
Okay, thank you very much. That
You're
answers my
welcome.
question.
Mm-hmm.
No other hands raised, Samantha, and we can move
Okay.
on. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla.
You're welcome.
All right. So next, we're going to discuss the purchasing methods, the HUB program, our HUB efforts, and our HUB certification. So historically underutilized businesses, which is HUB, is per Executive Order 25 and General Statute 143-128.2. The goal for the HUB participation is 10% for both construction spending and goods and services. Our HUBs are marked in e-procurement and in EVP. And the HUB application, certification, and recertification is now, as I stated earlier, can be done through the EVP portal. So DOT efforts. So we intentionally are about being inclusive when it comes to competition, which is why we include language in our templates to identify and recognize if the business is a hub partner. So you have your added language. We identify as an eligible to become a hub vendor. Are you North Carolina hub status? Or are you a tier 2 hub status? Excuse me, hub vendors. And what tier 2 means is more like refers to small businesses being subcontractors and you're not actually the prime. So we project upcoming opportunities, annual departmental procurement plan. We report monthly to the hub office of upcoming opportunities, and DOT hub liaison, which is myself. I conduct market research within the hub community to find vendors for upcoming opportunities. Notices of opportunities, you can notify the hub office of these postings. We have hub office post solicitations to its website, and we also do direct solicitation by DOT hub by myself. The hub plan. So again, going back to the thresholds, our open market for small purchases for our hub partners range from 31,000 or less, whereas a P card is authorized and is strongly encouraged to use one of our hub partners if available. Our open market purchases, they range from 31,001 up to 100,000, and that's a minimum of 3 quotes. The vendor must agree to the terms and conditions, and at least one of those quotes must be solicited to be from a hub vendor if available. And then we have our open market purchases, which range from 100,001 and above. These are purchasings that are advertised, which is our invitation for bid or our request for proposals. These purchasing will notify the hub office of posting to ensure that hub vendors are aware of the opportunity, and it does include standard language for all formal solicitation documents. And before award, if the vendor has responded affirmative to is vendor a historically underutilized business, the agency will confirm certification and work with the hub office to ensure certification before issuing that purchase order. So our hub certification process, again, as we mentioned, is done through the EVP portal, where you will complete the statewide uniform certification application or reciprocity application, or you provide required documents, and that list, you will see the list of showing of the documents that you must submit, and they are based on your company's business structure, whether you're a sole proprietorship, a corporation, or LLC. And the hub certification process is good. Certification is good for 4 years. So the statewide uniform certification application is 3 possible applications, but you only need to submit one. Either the statewide uniform certification application, the NCDOT North Carolina Hub reciprocity application, or the North Carolina Hub reciprocity application. Then you have the reciprocity certification options, which is NCDOT, the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Certification, if it's based in North Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia, and are certified by certain national entities. And these are some of the required documents that you can review at your own time when you, Ms. Carla shares this PowerPoint presentation with you all. Just sort of the things that you need to submit: copies of your license, schedules of salaries, and signed leases if you have any
we don't wash
offices.
clothes separately. We got too many clothes.
Again, these are more listed documents to submit. And the types of structure required documents. Corporations, you must provide the following additional information: official articles of incorporation that are signed by a state official, both sides of the corporate certificates and stocks, transfer ledger, assumed name certificate, shareholders agreement, any minutes of your first and most recent stockholder and or board of directors meeting, any corporate bylaws, and any amendments. Limited liability corporations must provide the following documentation, including PLLC, your articles of organization or your operating agreement. Your partnerships, including LLP, must also provide partnership agreement, and any franchises must also provide their agreements. Are any questions at this time?
There are no questions in the chat. Ashley, I see your hand raised.
Yes, I actually do have a question. Our hub certification was set to expire on the 16th, and the renewal was completed on the 11th, but it's still showing it as expired. Is there a grace period when you renew before the expiration date?
I heard a bit of that question. I was reading the chat, but when it's time for recertification, you will begin receiving notice 60 days from your expiration date. And that is when you can begin the recertification process. And
Yes,
it must be completed before expiration.
Okay, yes, they did complete it before, so perhaps they need to go back and do something else, just because it's showing it as expired. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions in the chat?
I do have a question in the chat for the reciprocity certification. Does that apply if the primary location of the business is relocating? The reciprocity option is according to who you hold certifications with and whether you are located in a bordering state. And so if those still apply, even with you relocating, then yes, you are still eligible for reciprocity. Hope that answered. Okay, thank you. All right, and we have one hand raised. Dora, is that a fresh raise? Do you have a question?
Yes. So I was asking when I can sign up for the next Purchasing 101 event, and someone responded that it'll be posted in your website and information/invitation email to vendors. And I was wondering when that might occur, so I could put a note in my calendar and make sure I look for it.
Yeah, the date is March 18th for that next session. And we immediately after this session, we begin marketing. It's coming.
Okay, so you're saying maybe by in a couple of days, I should be able to see it on your website.
That's correct.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a quick question.
Go ahead.
One of the slide you showed had identification of a tier 2 hub vendor.
Yes.
How is that done?
So you would if you're not a prime, then you would check tier 2 in the template of the solicitation.
Oh, within the solicitation. Okay.
Yes.
So how do you designate yourself? So when you respond back to the RFQ or something?
So that's going to be part of the part of your return packet. Those.
And Tara, if you want to ask your question.
Sure. It's just it's basically just a follow on to this gentleman's question. So as a when I see a larger, like let's say construction opportunity, and if I'm simply just painting or drywall or whatever, I can still go in and submit a bid directly just as a tier 2 subcontractor, or do I have to find the prime and submit through them? Or is it mixed maybe? I don't know if that makes sense, but.
Yes, I would say it would depend on, I think you could do both.
Okay.
The best thing to do is to review the solicitation itself to see what the requirements are and
Yeah.
make a determination for your company in that case.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
My name is Quentin Coles. I have a hospitality business. If my commodity codes are not right and I'm receiving different solicitations, how do I make sure that I have the right solicitations for my company?
So what you want to do is go in EVP and update your commodity codes. That would be your first step. And I would recommend that you review the commodity code list when I send out the presentation and a link to the recording. I'll include a link to those commodity codes so that you'll be able to peruse that list and match it to what you offer.
Thank you so much.
I have a question too. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay. So I know they have a lot of information online in regards to the bidding process, but do you all offer do you all have someone that can give a little bit more hands-on with walking someone through the process business?
We can offer some information. We have limited information for the bid process, but we can offer, yes, some information. And I will include my contact information, my email, and if I don't have an answer, I will direct you to some of our resources that may be able to help with that.
So going back to your question, sir, so the tier two within the solicitation itself, it asks those questions. Are you considered a prime or tier two, which is a subcontractor? Okay. So did I answer your question, sir?
You did.
Mr. Ravi?
Yeah, you did. Thank you.
Okay. Again,
Okay.
my apologies.
I
Any
think
other questions?
Yeah. I think we can move forward.
Okay.
And there are a few questions in the chat that I think we can take care of in the chat.
All right. Thank you. So seeking competitions is our next module. We'll be discussing the types of solicitation documents, solicitation content, requirements versus evaluation method criteria. Solicitation planning usually starts at the end user level where they have to first identify the need and define that need, gather all the information for specs and the scope of work to be put together and their requisition that they will submit for procurement. And once the purchasing agent gets involved, then we review that information and authorize and prepare our solicitation document. Vendors direct quotes. So you get your free quotes from goods purchases up to 31,001 or your services purchases up to 100,000. The buyer is able to select from a list of registered vendors. The vendor quote must be current at least 30 days, and it must be on vendor letterhead or branded. Requests for quotes, RFQs. A request for quote is a solicitation document normally used for non-advertised procurements. So if we know of any hub partners that can provide the service or goods that we're looking for, we then, purchasing agent, would send that RFQ directly to that vendor. And that does not require public posting. As I said, it's sent directly to them via email. The vendor must agree to the North Carolina terms and conditions, and it can be used for seeking competition, again, up to the 100,000 instead of an informal quote. Responses are then sent back via email, and once those responses are received, they are opened immediately. Our invitation for bids is more of our formal solicitation document, which we use to seek competition for well-defined goods and simple services. Used for purchases estimated over 100,001. These are used where bids will be evaluated and awarded will be based on the lowest responsive bid, meeting specs and requirements. The minimum days that we post our solicitations are 10 days. Sometimes we can extend that longer, depends on if there are any addendums or changes to that solicitation before award. And public bid openings and potential site visits you have to attend. Requests for proposals, or RFPs, is a formal solicitation also, which is typically used for seeking competition and obtaining offers for more complex services or a combination of both, where we use the competitive procurements that are estimated over 100,001 total dollar value. The division knows end result what they're looking for that supplier to provide, which is the best solution. The evaluation method can be other than lowest cost and posted to EVP for a minimum of 10 days. And there may be public bid openings and potential site visits with these as well. Request for information, RFI. The purpose of this is to just gather some information in the open market, ascertain some level of interest of any potential vendors. It's not a solicitation document. No award or offer will result from this, and the state's terms and conditions are not required. After response period, it is then canceled in EVP. Solicitation document and sections. I encourage you all to really pay attention to these sections, because where it needs vendors' responses, you have to make sure that you are responding to what is being asked of that agent. So the first section, 1.0, is purpose and background. It's going to give you a little history of why the agency needs this purchase. Section 2 and 2.0 is your general information, like your solicitation schedule, the question period information, contents to be included with the bid submittal information, the number of paper originals and paper or digital copies definitions. Section 3.0 tells you how that bid is going to be awarded and what is the process that will be taken. So it can be evaluation criteria or based on lowest cost meets specs. Section 4 is usually our requirements, where we term contract terms is introduced, the pricing, how invoicing needs to be handled, any deliveries, warranties, references, any vendor experiences, samples if asked to submit, your financial stability, any certifications or license, background checks, or personal information. And again, in this section 4.0, it's not for every solicitation. Again, it could be, if it's something for, say, janitorial, you're going to need some background checks or some kind of personal information references checks. So those are the types of things, depending on that particular solicitation, you are required to submit something back with your bid response. And section 5.0, the scope of work, is more of the product specifications, giving you details of what's needed, what's the minimum, and what will not be accepted. So you have your objectives, your specifications, your tasks, your deviations, any certification of safety labels, technical approach, or project organization. Section 6.0 is more of the contract administration. You're getting to that once upon the contract has been awarded. You have the project manager info. If any type of reports that are requested and periodically, any disputes the vendor may have with the end users or vice versa, contract changes, product recall, all that information is discussed in the contract administration section 6.0. And attachments is our last part of the solicitation, where we discuss the pricing form, instructions to the vendors, the North Carolina terms and conditions, locations of the work, executive order 50, financial condition, your supplemental vendor information, or any maps and diagrams. Documents of change. So an addendum is changes made to a solicitation document before opening, before an award has been made. Say we put out a solicitation and the bid opening is going to be today at 2:00. And if that purchasing agent finds out that there's a change or it has to extend it out, they'll go back and do an addendum to change the date and the time of the opening of the bid. So it's very important to constantly check if any addendums have been changed during the bidding process. Request for clarification. This is sent usually during the negotiation period, where it's sent to the vendor to confirm offer or during some type of evaluation stage. You have your BAFO, that's also during the negotiation, and that's sent to the vendor to confirm negotiations during that stage. And then lastly, amendment. Amendment is anything done after the contract has been awarded. Submitting a bid or proposal. This, I will say, is very important to make sure that you execute your bid. A lot of times that can be missed in rushing, but where you see the vendor's authorized signature, if your signature is not there, that bid response cannot be accepted. So please read the entire solicitation carefully and pay attention to all the shalls, the must, and the mandatory. Because if it's asking shall do something, you must provide so, or it's mandatory to attend, those are the things that you have to abide by. Solicitation schedule. As I mentioned, this will be in section 2.0, any information. So it shows you the issue of the solicitation, the date and the time. If there's a pre-bid meeting that needs to happen, you would see that information. And then we have a period for questions for our vendors. So it's a given time for the vendors to submit any questions they have regarding solicitation, any questions regarding the scope, requirements, or anything. This is your time to submit those questions to the purchasing agent. And after that deadline, then those questions from everyone who submitted a question would be answered by the state responses. You have your provide responses to your questions, submit your bid, the contract award, and the contract effective date. So a contract can be awarded February 18th, but the contract effective date might not be in place until March the 2nd. So those dates can vary. So we like to put to be determined and not a specific date or time. Vendor questions, as I mentioned, you may only contact the purchasing staff listed on that solicitation during the solicitation process. You can submit your questions in writing per the directions in the solicitation document sourcing tool message board. Your questions can be answered via phone or in person. On-site visits are not binding. All vendor questions submitted by the deadline will be answered and posted to EVP in an addendum. And this is what you'll see in section 2.5 in the solicitation bid questions. You'll see the name of the purchasing agency and the actual bid number. Site visits. So site visits are pre-bid meetings are only necessary if the vendor will need to physically see the location or gather additional information to provide a responsible proposal, more like your landscaping or your janitorial services. So if they say a site visit is mandatory, you must be there at that specific time and location. The vendors must sign in and out with the time of arrival and departure. Late vendors can attend, but your offer will not be accepted and cannot sign in. Offers from late vendors or vendors who did not attend will not be accepted. So then you also have your urged and caution site visits. These also are for a specific day, time, and location. The vendor must sign in. Late vendors can attend, and attendance is not a requirement to accept any offers. Submittal instructions. This is more for our RFQs. Be sure to follow the instructions of the solicitation document, including bid submittal processes, deadlines, mandatory return information, and mandatory site visits. So your direct submittal, again, is through your email to that purchasing agent of that particular solicitation. Or if it's more of our formal solicitation, these are often mailed in, or the NCEP sourcing tool, or through EVP. Vendor requirements. So specifications that a vendor must meet or submit with its proposal be found responsive. So requirements are yes and no and not evaluated. Examples of these are vendor must deliver product within 15 consecutive calendar days, or vendor must submit with its proposal a copy of its general contractor license, or vendor must submit with its proposal 3 references where it has performed similar work, or vendor must provide product service manual. So again, this is must. You must, as to have your bid package be considered, you must provide these things that it is asking you to send. Evaluation criteria. So the evaluation, this process is specifically for our RFPs, and depending on the service being sought within that solicitation, it will advise the vendor on how the response will be evaluated. So you have your vendor experience, past relative experience. In its proposal, the vendor shall demonstrate their experience with public and or private sector clients with similar or greater size and complexity to the state of North Carolina, or staffing plans. Who will perform the work? The vendor shall provide that information as to qualifications and experience of all proposed staff to be assigned to this project, including resumes, citing experiences with similar projects, and the responsibilities to be assigned to each person. Or will it be evaluated through a technical approach? How will the vendor meet the state's business requirement? Meaning the vendor's proposal shall include in narrative, outline, and or graph from the vendor's approach to accomplishing the task outlined in the scope of work section of this RFP. A description of each task and deliverable and the schedule for accomplishing each shall be included. And pause for any questions at this.
We do not have questions in the chat, but if someone has a question and wants to raise their hand and unmute.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Hughes?
Yes, good morning. I have a question. Are there opportunities for leadership and organizational development?
I will say that that's something that you was going to have to navigate through the different state agencies, because everybody's needs are different. So depending on what that particular agency is searching for, you would see something like that.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
All right. Next is our solicitation response method, where we discuss direct submittal, the EVP collaborative, and EVP solicitation search and response. So how do I find my proposal? Direct submittal over emails, vendor direct quote for small purchases, which is a RFQ responses. IRQ PDF responses must be current, again, less than 30 days. The EVP collaborative tool within eProcurement. Then you have your EVP, whether you submit by mail or through the sourcing tool of Ariba. And agencies, we use the EVP vendor search to find our hub partners for competition. Collaborative space. Collaborative requisitioning is an informal quoting and pricing request function within the e-procurement systems. The users can use collaborative requisitions to obtain quotes for goods and services from multiple vendors at the same time, and the vendors agrees to terms and conditions. And these are used for purchases up to 100,000. And then below you'll have a link where you can go for training resources to find out more. EVP solicitation search and response is used to post formal, which is our IFBs and our RFPs solicitation. It allows state agencies to advertise solicitations for goods and services. We seek open and fair competition. We post tabulations of bidders' prices once the bids are open, and we post notices of contract award. All vendors too allows vendors to market goods and services. We search for business opportunities 24/7. Free EVP registration allows for free notification of business opportunities and view tabulation and award information. So as I stated earlier, this is the EVP website. So when you first come here, whether you already are a member of EVP, you would just come in and sign in on the right with your login EVP, or if you're new to it, you would still come to this to sign in and register an account. This left side tile is more where we use pre-purchasing users to browse vendors, and you can also come here to browse solicitations. So once you come into EVP, after you click browse solicitations, this is the screen that you're going to see. I recommend that you first do a filter. And when you do a filter, you're going to get this screen that you're currently looking at. So you can search by state agency, community college, municipality. All of that is going to be listed in this drop down. If you're going to do state agency, over here to the right, you have listed department, and then that way you can choose your own state agency that you might want to look at to see if there are any current solicitations posting that may be interest. But also I want to point out, make sure if that's what you're looking for under the solicitation status, that you check either open. If it's something that you've already responded to and you're waiting to hear back, I recommend you checking pending selection. Or if you want to see if it's awarded, I would check awarded. But you're going to use the same filters up top that you used previously to check either it's pending or it has been awarded. And then once you do that, you will see a list populated down below of any current solicitations that particular agency may have listed. So for example, this is one you might say you're trying to respond to. If you click on that particular solicitation number, it opens up to this and it shows you where to respond to solicitation. Click here and to access gain access to that. And once you access it, this is the screen that you see. And up at the top right-hand corner, you see time remaining. We usually open our bids at 2 o'clock, but when it's posted through the EVP, sometimes we have to wait about 5 to 10 minutes before it allows us to see the actual responses that were submitted. So you have your review prerequisites to accept the bidder agreement and continue the process of submitting a goal, and also checklists of steps to take and content section. So all of that you would see once you have clicked on to respond to a particular solicitation. Any questions at this time? Nope.
I do not have questions in the chat. I was muted. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I do apologize. I do have a question about the bids.
Okay. Go ahead.
How you all doing?
Good.
So the question that I have is that You know how you go into your account, how we go into our account to look for bids? Give me 1 second. How you go into your account to look at bids?
Yes.
And I did bid for a different county, however, I think I submitted a bid prior to them closing it, but I know when you don't submit a bid, it should not come on in your account. However, this county is still in there as one of my bids. So what is it actually saying, that they accepted my bid, or because I'm just trying to figure out that question.
I would recommend you reach out. If you still have the solicitation document, it should have the point of contact. I would
Right.
recommend you reach out to them, because as a county or a municipality, they use different systems. And so the best thing to do would be to reach out to the contact on that solicitation. And you should have an email address where you can email and ask that question.
Thank you, Carla. That's
you.
correct. Yes, because that's not, I don't think that's through our EVP portal. That's something, as she mentioned, something local municipalities, something totally different from what we use.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Fitzgerald Davies, if you want to ask your question.
Yes, when the bids are awarded, is it public information on how much they awarded the bid for, or that's not real?
Yes. So when the contract has been awarded, it's the responsibility of that purchasing agent to post that information along with the bid tabulation so that you can see who has responded and what their bid came in at. And it also kind of gives you.
Will it also tell you, like, what all they put in the contract, as far as, like, I heard you mention something about like employees having like submitted applications, and if you had prior experience of all, the references and stuff like that, is that
Yes.
all listed as well in the bid contract that was awarded?
Mhm. Yes, so that would be a different step. That would be to request a public record, and we'll get to that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mr.
Charles?
Foamy?
Yes. I noticed in the EVP portal also, you can put your commodity codes in, and it will
That's
send you
correct.
different solicitations that come up with your commodity code. It will send them to you automatically.
Yes, you get those automatically notifications based on the commodity codes that you are registered for.
Right. So that's good for, for what you do. You can put your commodity codes in, and then it'll send you all the solicitation that comes up with that. So that's like them finding work for you. So that's a good thing that they have.
Yes, that's why we call it a one-stop shop.
Savannah? I see a last name Forrest. Maybe mispronouncing her name. If you want to unmute and ask your question, if you're speaking, you're on mute.
Thank you. I was trying to unmute myself. Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm new to the commercial cleaning side of this business.
All right.
We're seeing that some of the criteria seems to be etched in stone. So for a company like mine, are there any kinds of negotiations as far as to state requirements when I apply for a solicitation?
No, well, not really, because the solicitation that you're responding to obviously going to have the requirements and the scope of work of what's requested by that end user. So it varies depending on the project.
Okay.
But feel free to reach out to me and we can discuss on it after this training. And I need to put my information in the chat.
Okay, awesome. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Ravi?
Yeah, me and my wife has this business, a printing business, and we got certified, the Hub certified last year.
Mm-hmm.
And we were wondering if we had to apply for the additional certification for the MBE and WBE and SBE, or is this one and all, the Hub certification? Is it a separate process for those certifications?
So,
Go ahead, Sam.
no, so I was going to say to him that those certifications are handled by the Office of Civil Rights, or am I incorrect in saying so? The DBE, I know.
As far as if you are Hub certified, and some of the lists that you mentioned with the Hub certification, you are certified according to where you fall under our list of characteristics. So you would be a minority certified firm. And you mentioned SBE. There is a DOT SBE certification, and there's also a Hub SBE. We usually recommend that you do them both when you seek the Hub certification. If you did not do it, you can easily go back and become SBE certified. But there is also a DOT certification that is SBE. And Sam, I'm not sure if that falls under Office of Civil Rights, as you were saying.
Right, okay. Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. My name is Rakisha. I'm with the NEMT company Care Express, and I just had a quick question. So if I'm not receiving any notifications about the solicitations, how can I make that alert happen?
So what I would recommend first is going back in your profile and updating the codes that you currently are registered for, and make sure again that it definitely speaks to the type of good or service that you can provide. Double check your codes. And again, do often checks through the navigation through EVP, as I showed you earlier, of checking that particular agency, whether it's a college. Go back and make sure, that that they received it and that you're being posted.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
That was our last question. I think we can proceed.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Carla.
You're welcome.
Okay. So evaluation process is our next module. We will discuss the bid openings, evaluation methods, reference checks, Executive Order 50, and clarifications and BAFO. So bid and proposal opening, which is part of a formal bid processing. It's a public and open at the date and time and location specified in the solicitation. Any late bids and proposal, as I stated, are not accepted. You have to provide attendance sheet, explanation of the evaluation process. The vendors can only contact the purchasing agent listed on the solicitation during the evaluation period. All information except bidder's name and prices is confidential until after the award. For Department of Information Technology purchases, prices remains confidential until after the award as well. And our tabulations are posted to EVP with the names of the bidders updated to show the pricing after the award. So evaluation methods. So this evaluation method is most common for our RFQs and our IFBs. Lowest cost meets spec. It's awarding to the lowest vendor. Then we have our best value weighted method, and that's for more of our formal bidding. The methods of evaluating vendors are responses to a solicitation whereby the components, the technical versus the cost of the proposal may not share equal value, and it might be weighed on a scoring method, or the end user can choose to use the best value, a narrative method, and enables the vendors to offer a most appropriate product or solution to meet the business objective. So it's more narrative justification. Reference check. So reference check section can be added to a solicitation document, can be made as a vendor requirement to submit with their proposal. So you use to confirm vendor has performed this service or offer this particular product to the same size and the scope and job performance. And the state will ask all references the same questions. Look for vendor must or vendor may provide. So if we say must, we're definitely going to look for it. And if it says may provide, we may not. It's not mandatory. So clarifications and baffles, which is best and final offer. And this is usually during the negotiation process period. So request for clarification, that's sent to the vendor to confirm offer during the evaluation stage. It's usually a yes or no confirmation. It's clarifying something unclear in a vendor's proposal. Say you tabulated some numbers and you were off by one number and we came up with the right number. We want to make sure, is this what you meant to provide? So that's what we mean on clarifying something that's unclear, or the state cannot ask the vendor to provide additional information not already submitted with proposal, or the vendor cannot alter any proposed price submitted in the proposal. So your best and final offers, again, are sent to vendors to confirm negotiations during the evaluation stage. The negotiations can take place over the phone and email, but it must be confirmed on that document that is sent to you. You can't alter the vendor's proposal. State does not have to negotiate with all vendors, and the vendor is requested to submit their best and final offer during that period. Executive Order 50. So Executive Order 50 offers a price matching opportunities for North Carolina vendors that are located and headquartered in North Carolina. So for used or goods, not for services, the vendor must indicate whether it wants to participate in that, and that's part of the package in the solicitation template. The vendor to complete the attachment in the solicitation document, and it must be notarized. And the North Carolina vendor's pricing, in order to win, you must be within 5% or 10,000 of the non-resident vendor. Any questions?
There are no questions in the chat. If someone has a question, if you would unmute, raise your hand, and we'll proceed with answering.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If no questions, we can forge ahead.
Thank you. So our last module is award process, the awarding notifications, the purchase orders, invoicing. So the award notification, the vendor is notified by the agency who sends out the award memo to that vendor. All documentation will be attached in the e-procurement or purchase order will be issued. The award posted to EVP within 3 days of final approvals. And once the contract award is received, the vendor may contact that contract administrator. Purchase orders. On the purchase orders, this is the information that does it. It includes the description of the item or the services that was awarded, the contract or bid number, any accounting codes, the pricing, delivery schedule, payment terms, effective dates of contract term, including any renewals if offered, transportation and freight, any terms and conditions, and comments to the vendors, and any buyer and contract administrator contact information will be all on that purchase order once it's been awarded and the first purchasing order has been created for you. Invoicing. The vendor is to invoice ordering division only, bill to address on the PO, and you'll see that it includes the following: the description of the services completed, as I said, the purchase order number and the contract number. Be sure the remit to address is current, where the vendor can update in EVP. And the state typically pays a net 30. Checks are written on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And the state does have the capability for electronic payments. The vendors must submit a form found in the Office of State Controller website, which would be the ACH form, in addition to the North Carolina's NCDOT substitute W-9. Any questions at that?
No questions in the chat. Anyone want to raise your hand and ask a question? You may do so now.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes.
This is Vivian. I have one quick question, please. So
Sure.
you're saying that whenever we get the contract, we do the work, we submit our invoice. Is it 30 days from the invoice date, or how does that work?
It's 30 days from the invoice date.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Yes, I do have one more question. So when you all award a contract, is there a meeting prior to that contract being awarded?
So once that contract has been awarded, then I suggest that the vendor reach out to the contract administrator to set up to see if there's going to be any periodically reporting that you need to do, but there should be some type of meeting.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm going to discuss that as well too.
I think we can proceed, Samantha.
All right. So the contract monitoring, this is after the contract has been awarded. You got the inspections and testings, renewals, and any amendments that may need to happen with the contract, any vendor protests, or any public record requests. So the contract kickoff meeting, Mr. Cole, that's what I was thinking about. The contract kickoff meeting is something that happens after the contract has been awarded. You want to clarify any terms and conditions, any goals or objectives that are expected of you, communicate your roles and your responsibilities, and just clarify any expectation, delivery expectations you or the end user may have. Next, any type of inspection or testing needs to be involved in the award of that particular contract. The state will notify the vendor of any damaged goods, if there are any inaccurate order, any late shipment. And we look at the quality acceptance inspection, which is delivery and installation. Invoices are usually not paid until the delivery or any installation has been complete. The delivery is not to be considered to have occurred until installation has been completed, including disposals of waste and debris from the site, and the vendor is to be responsible for leaving the installation area clean and ready to use. Vendor complaints. Inspections and complaints documented by the contract administrator. Formal vendor complaints from purchasing office includes cure or any actions and deadlines. Renewals. So again, as I stated, our contracts are a standard 3 years. PNC or Department of Information Technology approval is required if gone beyond the 3 years. Renewals are optional and do not have to be exercised. The renewal agreement is sent to the vendor prior to the expiration of the current contract that's in place. And the state will generate a new purchase order for each year of the contract or update its existing purchase order. Any amendments, they are used to change like pricing changes, contract terms or scopes or costs, etc. Any changes to the awarded contract is done through an amendment. And only the purchasing office can change those terms of contract. Vendor protests. So vendor must submit a written request to the procurement director for awards that are up to 50,000 and to the state purchasing officer with the Division of Purchase and Contract for awards that are over 50,001. It must be submitted within 30 consecutive calendar days from the date of that contract award. And all protest letters must contain specific reasons and any supporting documentation for the protest. Mr. Foamy, I see you have your hands up.
Yes, quick question, right quick, on that 3-year term. I was looking at one now, and it's a 3-year term, but now the price I have for the first year. Now what about if they want they want to renew it for the second year?
So
Go ahead.
if when you was awarded the contract, did it just say a one time and done, or with an option for renewal?
No, I'm in the process of submitting it right now. I haven't got all my documentation together on it yet. But I want to know if the price I give them for the first year, if they want me to renew it the second year, do I have opportunity to increase my price on it, or do I have to stay the same?
Yes, but that would be amendment during this if their option is given, then you would present that information to the end user with the option to renew.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay.
I just want to make sure, because the price I give them this year, there's no way it could be the same price 3 years later, inflation and everything.
That's correct. Yes, that's acceptable. Any other questions before I move on? All right. Public records request. So vendors are able to submit a public record request for awarded contracts. You want to submit the public record request to the agency that solicited, and most agencies have a web-based request form. Some records may include redacted information. So this is the link where our communications department is where you would come to NCDOT Communications and request that public record. That public record is then submitted to the Director of Purchasing, and after the director reviews that request, they will assign it to the appropriate person who handled that particular solicitation with a response back to the public. So it includes as much information as possible: the title, the contract number, the awarded vendor, any purchase orders that may have been created, and how do you want to receive the requested records, electronically, paper, or physical review. And note, only pricing information and current vendor on the current or past contracts can be released while a contract is out for bid. And here are some quick website resources that you can review at your leisure. Any questions?
We do not have any questions in the chat. We can take this opportunity to answer questions. If you have a question, you can raise your hand and we can go through and get your questions answered.
Okay.
Do note that we have placed a survey in the chat, and we ask that you respond to our survey. It's a short survey. The link will also be included in the email that will arrive. We have also, or will also, be holding an event on March 5th. It is following the state construction conference. It will be a networking opportunity as a hub certified vendor or as a business owner, period. It will be an opportunity to meet some of our state purchasing agencies, prime construction firms, and agencies around the state, universities, community colleges that you may want to do business with. So March 5th is when this event will take place, and I've included a link for registration in the chat. And with that, we'll continue with questions. And Dora, I see your hand raised.
Yes, I wasn't sure if you were in this presentation going to include, excuse me, the information for the Department of Information Technology that was recommended where I look to.
Let me see. I can show you how to look for that. Give me
And-
1
and-
second.
Contact information for them will be included in our email, a list of resources in our email.
Okay.
And
Thank you,
Sam,
Carla.
you can go ahead, but I just wanted to say that, to add
Okay.
that also.
Thank you. I want to see.
Where is the March 5th event occurring?
It is at the McKibbin Center. And as I said, the link is now in the chat, and I'll include it on our email so that you can register. We also have been sending email notifications about registration. So if you have registered as a vendor with the state, you're on our hub certification list, you should be receiving those emails.
So
Okay,
can
thank
you
you.
all still see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so Ms. Dora, this is where you will come to EVP. You're going into browse solicitations. And I would do a filter. Department type, if you're looking for DIT, that's going to be a state agency, but all your other options are community colleges, public schools, university, and local government. So you can check any one of those entities and kind of see what's out there for yourself. But for under state agency and for department, you're going to look for Department of Information Technology. Want to see if the status for open solicitations, you hit apply. And down below, this is where you would see anything posted that may interest you.
Okay, so how did you navigate to there? Because I'm logged into evp.nc.gov and I don't see
Okay,
how you
so
got to where you.
did you have come to the home page of EVP?
Yes, I'm
So
there
you
right
see, okay, great. So you see the tile that reads browse solicitations.
now. Okay, yes.
So I would click on that. And at the top where it reads filters, do the drop down, and that's where you would make your selection. So again, you would choose state agency. Department type is going to be Department of Information Technology. You want to see what's open, and all you have to do is hit apply. And down below is where you would see if they currently have anything posted. And that goes for any state agency, any public school, any of those resources that I showed listed on the top.
Okay, and so then we can only search by department type one at a time, not all of
One
them.
at a time, exactly. So you can do all your state agency, all your community colleges. And once you click on community colleges, again, you're going to see all the community colleges that are listed under there.
Okay, and is there a benefit to selecting NCEP sourcing in the filter?
I don't use that's maybe I've never used that option, so I'm not sure if it's something that where you have to respond to. I've never used it, so I'm not clear what that would show us. So let's see. I don't see anything different, but I'm not sure what that NCEP sourcing references to.
Okay, and then is it possible for me to just search by topic? Like if someone's looking for a specific thing, like related to AI, for example.
You can do a keyword search.
Keyword search, yeah. Down here.
Okay, so would I use the top filter or skip the top filter?
No, you're gonna use that. I think that shows in the filters. Well, no. If you don't do the drop down filters, you can just do it by keyword search here.
Okay, so I can skip the top filter and just use the keyword search.
Correct.
Okay, perfect.
And without a filter added, it just shows all of the open bids currently. So that would include every department or designation. That's to answer an earlier question, whether you could look at all of them at one time. The answer is when you're just looking at the solicitation portal, that is what is displayed, is all open bids.
Gotcha. Yeah, it looks like the filter section, as you were saying, has everything. It's showing me pending selections, awarded
Right.
selections.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're
You're
welcome.
All right. Any other questions?
Yes, Mr. Foamy?
Okay, yes, two questions right quick. First question is, I noticed that the hub, state level hub certification is different from the federal level, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Would,
The federal rule is hub zoned, and it is based on geographical locations. And so they are two totally separate things. One is federal,
Okay.
one is state.
Right, okay, okay. All right, another question is, I know I'm looking at several different construction, solicitations out there, and I noticed there's a lot of problems, I'm finding a lot of small businesses like myself starting out is having a problem trying to get bonding, and all that stuff. Now, do you guys have, like different organizations? What about the North Carolina Small Business, Technology Development Center? Do you guys work hand in hand with them, or you guys have your own?
We do not offer bonding as the hub office, but we do offer resources. We will connect you with resources that can assist.
Okay,
Mr.
great.
Foamy, you're welcome to reach out to me, and on a side note, we can discuss a little more details. You're assisting you with your needs.
Okay, yes, I have your information right here. I will be reaching out to you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Ms. Rouse?
Yes, I have a quick question. I had to step away for a few minutes. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
I just have one question about the event on March 5th.
Okay.
Is that just for construction workers? Like
It is a construction conference, but the reception and networking event afterwards would be beneficial for anyone looking to do business with the state.
okay, so so you're saying that the after party. So is that where we could like set up and have like our business cards and all that stuff?
Well, we will have, it'll be the reverse of that, whereas we will have state agencies, universities, there will be construction firms, but the opportunity for just in general is to interact with some of the purchasing agencies within the state.
Okay, I got you. I misunderstood that. Sorry about that. So I can still attend this. It's fine if I attend it. That's what I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there is no fee to attend the reception and networking event after the conference.
Okay. And what time does that, how long does that normally run?
It's from 5 until 7 on March 5th.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Dora, did you have another question?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So on that registration for the March 5th event, it says, "Are you hub certified?" I know I've submitted everything and am waiting to hear back. So should I select yes or select no?
You should select no at this time and still come. Yeah, we're
Okay,
just collecting data.
Okay, I
Okay,
have a
thank you.
question right quick.
And go ahead.
Yes, I think that would be a great event because you could actually go there and speak with the primes on far as the construction side, and then you won't need to get all the bonding and GC license and all that because you can be it as a sub with the prime. So I think I'm will register for it, but that'll be great for everybody really to come if they can, because you can always, like if they get with a prime, they won't have to get all the certifications and everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Tribble?
All right. March 5th, in-person registration is sold out.
That's for the conference itself. And our event takes place after the conference. So you will still have an opportunity to meet some of the, if you're in construction, some of the prime contractors. You will also have opportunity to meet some of our state purchasing agencies.
Yeah, I'm a prime contractor. I was trying to register for that about a week ago. And for whatever reason, it didn't go through.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at it now.
It sells out pretty quickly each year. So, but do come to the reception afterwards. There is no fee for that. And again, it gives you an opportunity to interact.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? If no more questions, I do want to take this time to thank you for participating and attending our session. And we hope to see you at our March 5th event. Thank you to Samantha for your participation in presenting this
Happy to
valuable
do it.
information
Thank
to
you,
our
everyone,
vendors.